Hey YouTube, how's it going? Felix here. This is my lovely 2019 British Racing Green Brompton 2-speed bike. So this is the 2-speed with the chain tensioner, derailleur arrangement here. I'm not quite sure what you call it, but mine is the 2-speed. Anything that I'm talking about in this video would also apply to the 6-speed version of the Brompton, because that has the same derailleur setup, as well as the internal geared hub, which I don't have. But yeah, if you've got a 6-speed Brompton or a 2-speed Brompton and you're having problems with the gears not working, maybe you've got bad shifting, it sort of lags and won't shift gears smoothly between its two little cogs here, then this video is for you. There's a really good video on YouTube by a channel called Brilliant Bikes, where this lady, she describes sort of servicing and taking apart the 2-speed derailleur system and really sort of fixing it properly. I'm just making this video to accompany that one because there are a couple of things which have helped me in fixing my Brompton 2-speed setup, which I'm just going to quickly go over in this video, which weren't mentioned in that other video by Brilliant Bikes. So yeah, I'll link that video down in the description if you want to watch it. That really is the full guide. My video is just a little bit of a short edition, if that makes sense. So I'm going to flip the bike over for you, and I'll come back in a second. Okay, so I've flipped the bike over here, and we can now see the whole sort of derailleur setup very exposed. In terms of, if you've got problems with shifting, the first thing I would check, if I were in your position, are the cables themselves. So these cables here, we've got the rear brake cable and the cable which comes up from the shifter housing. These go up here and they follow their way back to the back of the bike, to the back wheel. I would first, before I even look at that shifter, first thing I would do is check these cables and make sure they aren't like sort of twisted around each other like this. You should see them sort of nicely parallel as they run through the bike, going all the way back down to the rear brake and to the gear assembly. I've had it in the past where I folded the bike and these cables have got sort of twisted around each other a few times, and that will put additional tension on the shifting mechanism because I guess the cable gets twisted up inside, and that can cause the shifting to really become quite crappy. So that's the first thing I would do, because it's the easiest thing to fix, is just check these cables, make sure they're not twisted, and make sure they're all looking nice as they go through your bike. The second thing I would check is this little plastic piece right here. So I'm not sure, all this stuff is quite hard to show, to be honest, but we've got the spring, and we've got this little sort of barrel here where the cable, I think, just locks in. And then we've got this plastic piece right here, if you can see it. This plastic piece, on the back side of this, there's a little hook, and that hook goes around this metal wire piece right here. Make sure that your plastic piece here, because it can move up and down like this, it can come off. Can come off like that, if you can see that. Make sure it's sitting correctly with its little hook behind this metal wire here. If that's come off, that could be really messing with your shifting. So I would definitely take this plastic piece here and make sure it's attached, sitting nice, hooked in there, in its correct spot. Okay, the next thing I would do is, well, to be honest, I would just clean the hell out of your 2-speed derailleur setup without taking it apart. In the Brilliant Bikes video, the lady takes the entire setup apart, which obviously is the best thing for your bike. You know, to take it apart, really like put it in a bathtub full of hot water and wash it properly. Yeah, that is absolutely the best thing to do. But it's very time consuming and quite messy. If perhaps you want a bit more of a quick fix, what I would personally recommend doing is just spraying down this area here. So this is the chain pusher. I just recommend spraying down this whole chain pusher assembly and the spring below, making sure you really get into all these nooks and crannies here with all like the sort of where the little bushings are underneath. Spray all this area down with a ton of degreaser, give it a few minutes to rest, and then sort of spray it all down, wash it all off with a sponge, and even getting in these like nooks and crannies with an old toothbrush would be really good. And then once that's all done, re-lubricate it with your favourite oil, maybe GT86 or WD-40 or something like that, and make sure it all gets back. To be honest, that, just cleaning it really well, will likely fix a lot of the issues. You don't need to be playing with these limit screws here. You don't have to touch those, in my opinion, very often, if ever. But just giving it a hell of a clean will likely fix the majority of issues. And make sure as well you lubricate this little, where this barrel slides in the end of the spring housing here. Make sure you give that a good lubrication, because that has some friction of plastic upon plastic in there. So make sure you give that a good lubrication as well. But yeah, so you've checked the cables, you've checked this little piece here, you've given this whole area a damn good clean, and then it's still not shifting quite right. The next thing I would do is look at your cable tension. So if you come down here on the bike to the shifter, which is here, you will see there is a little adjustment barrel here, a barrel adjuster. You can sort of lift this piece up, so it's a bit stiff, but you can lift it up and you can rotate this top section of the plastic here, and that will adjust your cable tension. Obviously, turning it in this orientation, when the bike's upside down, turning it clockwise will increase the cable tension. I think the likelihood you are probably going to want to increase the cable tension because the probability is your bike has got older and the cable has stretched, so you're going to want to increase the cable tension to compensate for that stretch. But yeah, they're the 4 things I would check. That is just checking for twisted cables, check that plastic piece, give this a hell of a clean and the re-lubrication, and then check your cable tension. And all of those things for me, touch wood, literally touching some wood, have looked after my 2-speed Brompton and have got me back moving again when I've had problems with it. To be honest, it is the most unreliable part of my Brompton. I love this bike, don't get me wrong, I absolutely adore it, but I have found this to be fairly sort of temperamental and finicky to get right. And I have taken the whole setup apart a couple of times. If you want to do that, then I'd definitely check out the Brilliant Bikes video because it's better than mine. And the lady gives you a wonderful explanation of how to take it all apart. But yeah, if you want a quick fix, try my things, and yeah, hope it all works out for you, and enjoy riding your Brompton. Take care, cheers.